My addiction started, honestly, like drinking alcohol, trying to fit in. I would say I was going to school, I wouldn't go, and I'd be skipping school, I'd be hanging out with people that were way over my age. And because they had what I was out looking for, is like that substance to get numb and escape the life that I felt that I was stuck in at that time, and to rebel and do whatever I wanted. And I felt in control of my life, but really drugs had like the control over me. So when my parents got a divorce, it was pretty sudden when I was in 4th grade probably, and I stayed with my dad at that point because my mom didn't know where she was gonna go once she got out of the relationship. So she thought it was good for me to stay in the same school, the same neighborhood that I always grew up in. And unfortunately, like, my dad struggled with addiction too, but I didn't really know it. And so the things that he was using in his addiction, that's like where my supply stemmed from, was because like I seen that my dad was doing it, and so I knew that he did it for a reason. Once I started getting into trouble, then I fell into another crowd, you know, and a lot of them came from a broken home as well. And so it was like, whose house are we going to next? You know, they have this here, they do that there. Whoever's mom has this, or you know, like their mom isn't there, or would be there and party with us, you know, which is crazy to think, because I mean, they're kids and they're struggling with parents that are in active addiction that are participating with other children. So I would say that had like a big influence on like a lot of the things that I went through. I would stay, I didn't want to go home because I thought it was better being there than where stuff was allowed to go on that wouldn't be tolerated like at home. For me, for sure. I had gotten some pain pills prescribed to me by a doctor, and I did them all, and then I went back to the doctor because I was in a lot of pain. They thought I had maybe like kidney stones or something like that, but I was actually withdrawing from opiates, and then they prescribed me more opiates. So then.
At what age was this?
I would say 17 probably. So then after that, like obviously I started seeking those kind of drugs, you know, like I didn't really know that it would make my body chemically dependent for it. And I got lost in like Oxycontin, and that was like the thing booming when I was from like 17 to 18, and then turned to heroin because it was cheaper. Oxycontin had, you know, they tried to control it by making it so you couldn't abuse it, and a lot of me and my other friends that I had got at that time switched over to heroin. And it was like that ultimate numb.
Yeah. And
I mean, of course it progressed into heroin, but I mean, it was stronger, cheaper, and more numbing than the Oxy was. And a lot of times, like if you do heroin, you know, like meth comes with it too, you know, it's hand in hand. And the meth is like what gets you to be able to function as you're on heroin, which is like a crazy combo, you know, and of course like meth-induced psychosis a lot of times. In and out of jail, tons of felonies and misdemeanors and everything like that. And it's like they were all due to like me doing drugs or trying to seek those drugs. And instead of, I mean, I was probably offered treatment maybe twice, 3 times through the whole court process ever. So I was over on the other side of the mountains in, you know, like outside of Seattle, towards Everett area, Snohomish County. I kind of stayed in like those places, and a lot of it happened there. My mom had moved over to Wenatchee, and so it kind of got out of control because my family didn't really see like what was really going on because I wasn't in the home. You know, they knew I was skinny, they knew I was malnourished, you know, and they knew that I was in and out of jail, but they didn't really know like what I was doing. I'd been sitting in county jail. I did like a trip around Eastern Washington, and then I had to go back over to Snohomish County because I had pending charges over there. And I had been in jail for 9 months probably. I had got clean in jail. I kicked heroin, and I got clean and I was sitting in jail and I was there with, you know, people that I associated with on the streets and their moms, you know, that are in jail with their daughters together, you know, or their grandma. And I was like really thinking like, is this the way I want to live my life? I called the only person I knew from active addiction that I had seen that had been like a substantial amount of clean time that I knew if like that person could get clean, like I could get clean, you know, or they had some secret that could like save me, you know. And I got in contact with Victor and he told me to come to a meeting. I told him like, oh, I have to go break up with my boyfriend that's been waiting for me for over a year while I've been in jail, you know. And Victor told me to break up with him over a text message. I said, no, I gotta do it face to face. And then I probably text messaged him 10 minutes later and said, where's the meeting at? And that was like really the step where I was done with everything. And I was ready to start new from like that day forward. It's April 13th, 2017, and that was the last day that was when I started withdrawing from heroin in county jail. And then kicked heroin in jail, you know, which is either, I mean, probably one of the best treatment centers I've been to is like jail because you don't have as much access, I would say, as being out on the street or being in a unlocked facility that will let you leave at any time. It's probably like the most hopeless, like horrible feeling. Like you definitely think you're dying that time for sure, you know, because as a heroin addict, you know, you think you're gonna die when you don't have heroin. So like that happens quite often because as an addict, like it's really hard to keep a job or go to work or be presentable, and even, I mean, to have anything to get a job is really like hard. So I really thought I was gonna die that time. I didn't know if I was gonna make it. I didn't know if I was gonna get out and go to the same thing, if it was gonna be worth it. And you know, it was almost like a bad dream for like a week. And then I came out of it, you know, and I started eating and waking up and being a part of things like watching TV, going to church services in jail, you know, and I would say that's what gave me hope. I made sure to go follow suggestions, get a sponsor, you know, go to 90 meetings in 90 days because like that gives you a foundation to build off of, and it gives you a new perspective on life. I ended up, after I had a year clean, I ended up dating Victor, you know, and we've been inseparable since, you know. And now we're gonna get married. We've started a lot of things out here in Central Washington that weren't here before, with a lot of our family that we consider over here, you know, addicts in recovery. And it's just crazy to think of like like the recovery movement that's going on in Central Washington. I don't think without these people that are involved in my life right now, like I don't think I would have made it. We always say that we keep a seat warm for whoever needs to come in. I mean, we're willing to help just about anybody, you know, like who's willing to show that they want help, that just the desire to stop using. I mean, a lot of places that have 12-step meetings or fellowships or anything like that, it's almost word of mouth, you know? So it's just, we have so many people connected in so many different facilities or areas or whatever, and it's like by that word of mouth or just like saying that you want help, it's like it spreads like fire. And so a lot of people that are out there that are working in treatment centers and stuff like that definitely like tell people to try to get connected into their community, and they know people's names or what they do. And I mean, definitely Victor's job, I mean, is a big impact on our community as well, because those people wanting help, like, I mean, he's there to offer it. I'm gonna have a real wedding, which I never thought that would happen, you know. It's crazy, the help, and and the gifts that are being given to me and Victor to be able to like celebrate this huge time in each other's lives, you know, because before we didn't have a future, you know, like honestly, drug addiction mostly ends in death, you know. So to celebrate like two addicts getting married and like building this life, it is amazing, you know, and it's just exciting. I mean, to see all these things happen that could have happened, you know, if I would have just not done drugs, stayed in school, listened to my parents, you know, and like to do all these things, but of course, like I had to take this crazy backwards route, you know, and it's, but now I'm here, you know. I would say that like my higher power, you know, like I don't have a name or a preference, you know, I just say higher power, and I believe it speaks through me and to other people, or through other people to me. I mean, honestly, through nature and like things that I really sit there and I'm like this is definitely a power that's greater than myself. Everybody's human, and honestly, like all anybody is away from being a drug addict is like that one hit, you know, like we're all human. We're someone's daughters, sons, dads, moms, grandmas, all of that, you know, sisters. And you know, today my family has like a daughter and a sister and a niece in their life. And it's because I got help. It's not so black and white, you know, like addiction can be in everything. Everybody can be addicted to anything, work, food, anything like that. And it's just like you gotta come from that humble place where you realize that like we're all equals. Nobody's greater than anybody else, you know? And I feel like that's like something that brings like a lot to offer from my life now, is because that's how I see. There's no one like that's greater than me or I'm less than anybody else. Like we're all human, you know? And to just take like full advantage of like the life that we're offered before it's too late.